Where's our secretary?
And I want to say not ready.
Oh, let's start straight out.
Yeah, I want us to have it and find this official.
Robbie? Aaron, I'll be secretary. Okay.
Robbie,
Thank you.
Robbie's not here?
Okay.
I think we're
Thank you.
coming. Otherwise, we're
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are we live?
Yes, we're live.
You sure?
All right, guys. I gaveled this meeting in at 5:30. Or 5:30. All right.
That's why it comes in twice a minute.
All right. So first, approval of the agenda. Okay. So here's the current agenda.
Can we get that clear?
What
No.
are you saying? No, it can't.
No, it's the thing.
Oh yeah. So we have approval of the agenda, approval of the minutes. Then we're going to do updates, including the library renewal committee, and then a couple of initiative updates that I gave you guys expectation for last meeting. Then we'll be doing SRC elections to get 2 senators to sit on the SRC Appeals Board. And then we're going to be doing elections of new senators. We'll pass out the questionnaire. And then after we do new senators, we'll do announcements and then we're done. So for this agenda, are there any amendments that anybody would like to make? Candace?
Can I have elections 2019 added to the agenda? Like the motion to have that added to the agenda?
What do you mean, elections 2019?
I need to talk to you about elections
Seconded.
2019.
All right, seconded. All right, so you guys want to, all in favor of adding elections 2019 before announcements on the agenda? All right.
Robbie, I started the document.
All right.
I started the document. It's in the final PDF folder.
All right, all in favor of the current agenda? Raise your hands. Francis? Okay, great. All right, now here are the minutes for last meeting. I hope everybody got a chance to look over them. So, yep, pretty intensive. Anybody have any amendments they'd like to make to the minutes? All right, all in favor of approving the minutes from last meeting? All right, passes, great. All right, cool. So we have a lot of new faces in here. So why don't we start off with some introductions? Brandon, would you like to lead us?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
So we're gonna go around. We can do name, pronouns, year, and then name, pronouns, year, major, and the student organizations you're a part of, or SGA, or you can just, you're a part of on campus or outside campus. I just want to know what y'all are doing. So, to model, my name is Brandon Liu. I use he, him pronouns. I am a senior studying bio and animation, and I'm a part of the sign language club. And that's live. And that's it. Am I right?
And also, let's do this semi quickly. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm a boy. I'm a freshman, global study major. I'm in SGA.
I forgot my name. Candace Martinez, known Assistant Director for Leadership and Governance. I also serve as the SGA advisor. I use she, her pronouns. And when I was in college, I was in an organization called Chicks at FSU. It was caring and helping in community service.
Hi everyone, I'm Robbie. I'm the secretary. I use she, her pronouns.
Hi. Hi, I'm Francis. I'm a sophomore computer engineering major, and I'm getting several certifications on campus. I just got certified as a Scrum Master.
Ooh, Scrum Master. Okay.
Scrum Master.
Scrum Master.
It's like, it's a lot.
Okay.
I'm Yasmin. I'm a junior-ish. Yep. What else am I supposed to say? Media communications major, theater minor. She or hers. What don't I do? Apart from my she, I do SCD as a community member, event planner, Mosaic, volunteer, OCSS, sometimes, and just very involved students. There we go.
Hi, my name is Wells. I'm a junior biology major, and I do club soccer. I do Black Student Union. That's about it. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, hello, my name is Mary Mabalantoga. I'm a physics major, philosophy minor. I'm a sophomore. I'm a society physics student, astronomy club, and SGA.
Hi, I'm Sean. I'm a freshman FYA, stats major and comp minor. I use he, his, and pronouns. Besides from SGA, I'm involved in trap bands and partially involved with the Jewish Student Organization.
I am a Salary Torad. I'm a comp sci major and I use she, hers pronouns, and I'm a FYA.
My name is Josue. I use he, his pronouns. I am a junior studying sociology, minor political science, and I'm involved in SGA. Hope to be involved in music.
My name is Reese Raminsky. I'm a freshman computer science and philosophy double major, and I'm in Hacking BC, don't he and pronouns. And I'm in Hacking BC and astronomy.
I've never seen
I'm Kai. I'm a senator, second year, BS, psych, he, him pronouns. I'm a part of the Japanese Student Association, Vichy Pharmaceutical, both the NIH.
I'm Seth Tainsworth. I'm a sophomore, biology major, he, him pronouns. And I'm part of the National Society of Collegiate Scholars.
Patrick, I am a sophomore, poli-sci global studies major, he, him, and I am a brother of Hydro 5.
Hey guys, I'm Jared. I'm a senator. I serve as the Speaker of the Senate, and I'm a comp sci major, and I am in Catholic Retrievers, and I'm also brother of Hydro 5. Yes. All right, great. It's nice to meet you all. Welcome to Senate. So, just get started. Let's get started on senator updates. So, Yaz, do you have a update from the library renewal?
No.
Oh, you don't? Okay, I thought. Okay.
I didn't go.
Huh?
I didn't go, remember?
Yeah, I thought we were talking. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. All right. Well, in that case, are there any other SGCs that occurred that I was not aware of?
So Student Fee Advisory Committee, we're hosting the what's it called? The fee forum on February 20th. What? Oh, that's what it says. We need help advertising the fee forum, so if you guys can tell your mates about the fee forum going to be held in Admin 101. And yeah. You guys can decide what happens to your money. February 20th.
I don't know if you get to decide what happens to our money is misleading. Because last time I went, it ended up being more of a debrief, and I'd expected that we would have deeper input
that's the point of the survey. So it's literally like a debrief. Like the fee owners are proposing one thing, what they're going to do with the fee increases that they're asking for, and then us, the student fee advisory committee, are responsible for like the outreach. So like students, if they decide to stay, they're prompted with surveys where they get to like put their input, and then we use that to vote for whether or not we're voting yes or no to the fee increase.
So the survey comes after the meeting?
Yes.
What time?
3 hours.
Alright, great. And we have a newcomer, so do you mind introducing us, just your name, major, and your year?
Okay, hi, my name is Reggie. Majoring in health and administration public policy. Minoring in pre-nursing. And yeah, I'm new, so I just wanted to see what like SGA was about, get some information, try to get involved in one way or another, so yeah.
All right. Any other senator initiative updates? Or not initiative updates, SGC updates? All right, great. Okay, so if you guys remember last meeting, there was an expectation for this meeting to have a Senate initiative, what you want to do, and then a first step in that initiative coming up. So now I'm going to go around and just get everybody's, what they want to do, just like one sentence, and then I guess what your plan is for this next week, okay? All right, so Patrick.
Yes, so I think along with Miriam still, I'm doing the like police reform stuff, kind of in conjunction with like the SAC. Hopefully we'll find a time to meet this week and kind of start planning some more groundwork for what we're going to be doing moving forward in the future.
Do you know like what you want to accomplish this semester?
I don't know what's feasible to accomplish this semester yet. I think we need to kind of meet with police before I can really like say I think I can accomplish this semester. I would like to have the framework for some kind of police relations committee started by this semester. But I don't know if that's like too little ambition, too much ambition. So we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll talk. And yeah, so next week just meeting with Miriam.
Meeting with Miriam, and then yeah, another representative.
What's your name?
As well. All right, cool. Veteran group.
Yeah,
All right, Stephanie.
So I wanted to actually expand the food pantry we have on campus right now. So it's not a full-on food pantry. Basically, we have like food zones on campus where students can go and get non-perishable goods, and we have places where you can donate food. But they're looking to actually like expand it basically and have like an actual food pantry on campus with like a fridge and a larger cupboard space. So I'm gonna reach out to the. I was looking online. There's some people that are like that organize the food services on campus. So I'm gonna reach out to them and get it started.
And for next week or for this week, what do you want to accomplish?
This week I wanna meet with the person who organizes it. I forgot her name. It was on the website. So yeah, meet with her, and start planning out like how we can get started on the project.
Okay. Do you have that meeting scheduled?
Not yet.
Okay. So I'll just put that schedule.
Yeah. Schedule the meeting.
All right.
Candace was just
Okay.
Are you talking about, so there's the Vista?
Right.
Or are you talking about meeting with someone from Chartwell?
Chartwell's.
Okay.
Chartwell's. I'm talking about the because Chartwell's is for the swiping, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about that program we have, about the free swipes, but I'm talking about like we have places on campus.
Yeah. Free for essential.
True. Yeah. That.
Yeah. So I'd say the person is there's an AmeriCorps Vista, and I can get you the contact.
Okay. Thank you.
You should move the best ones out.
All right. Bye. Cool.
Well, I'm meeting up with Colin tomorrow before his meeting with Gary about budgeting for bike share. I kind of not know. So I'm trying to catch Colin tomorrow before his meeting so we can talk logistics financially.
All right. Cool. Miriam?
So I think Francis touched on this, and we talked about this talked about this at Strive. We're reducing the stigma around like STEM majors, reducing like the STEM versus humanities majors at UMBC, and we were thinking of doing that like in the form of a public forum or like a discussion based thing. So I spoke to David Hoffman about that, and he said that he didn't think a forum would be like a feasible like solution to that. So he proposed that we did something along the lines of like coffee and conversation or like election night extravaganza, where the people talked about people had like the note cards. You remember the thing that we did during the university retreat where like people, not university retreat, leadership summer retreat. So like we essentially had like people write different things on note cards and then we went around talking about them. So like organizing that type of event to reduce the stigma. So like that. So cool. Yeah. So the next step would be to like meet with Katie Morocco from Res Life to talk about how she plans how she trains RAs to like facilitate those like conversations between non STEM majors and STEM majors. Yeah.
And you still need to plan that meeting?
No, I have not. So David said that he was gonna connect us, so I'm waiting for him to do that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to look at you. I'm sorry. You ready? Yeah.
It's me?
Yeah.
On my very long list of things to do.
Just the one, your most important one.
No, they're all happening this week.
Okay.
Because I get things done. Anyway, I have to schedule a meeting with Reese and Scott and myself for our food allergen labeling initiative. I am going to meet with OCSS to discuss with my man Brandon over here collaborations, ideas with SGA. And then I have to meet with Dan Barnhart about implementing charging stations in the common areas and funding that's already being used to upkeep things and how we can use that to buy these charging stations and what SGA needs to do in partnership with that to get that done.
Okay.
Yeah, and then communications department, our communications department, to make sure that we get the board finished in the next 2 weeks.
The board?
The core board and student workspace. It says meet your SGA that I've been talking about for the last 3 months. Yeah.
And we were meeting with Dan and Reese and Scott. Or I don't know if the one with Reese and Scott has planned it because I remember you were talking to Scott just now.
Yeah, I'm planning that by the end of the night.
Okay. And then Dan Barnhart, is that planned?
Tomorrow morning.
Perfect. All right, great. Then Francis.
So I've been thinking about an initiative that I want to put my best foot forward towards. We talked a little bit about it on Fridays, and definitely going in on that. I wanted to do an SGA initiative as a testing group, and so I wanted to meet with everyone and all the senators one-on-one preferably, and just get your perspective on the process and anything you think I could include on my initiative.
So this week, with that,
So
what do you
this week, I would want to schedule a meeting
with everybody? Okay.
Yep. So, talked about it before. I think focus groups is a good way to like describe it. So I've met with UHS last semester. I want to follow up with them this semester. We were talking about UHS, talking to them. OCSS is also part of the conversation that I want to have with Vlad. And then finding other demographics on campus, like student and administrative, who may not have had a voice on the Senate yet, and maybe in athletics and things like that.
And this week, what do you want to do?
This week, I'm meeting with, or I've already emailed out UHS. I need to do that, and then getting on class calendar.
scheduling meeting with Brian.
Right.
All right, great. Thanks, guys. I've kept track of like what you guys are going to accomplish. I'm going to bring that back up next meeting to see how the progress is going. Okay. So, if you have any questions about what I wrote down or think I should change it, talk to me. I got it. So that kind of sums up Senate initiative updates. So next is SRC elections. So for every semester as Senate, we have to have 2 senators to serve on the appeals board for SRCs, which we review, and those 2 senators help review the SRCs that we submit every 2 weeks that track whether or not we're doing our jobs or check on us for our stipend. Yeah, Mary?
Can you describe what an SRC is for people who don't know?
Okay, so SRCs are these.
So,
you can explain.
all right, so SRC stands for Stipend Review Committee. That's a body on SGA that kind of like checks everyone that gets paid. So we're getting financed by the student body to make sure we're going to be performing responsibly. So it just checks to see if you're following your job description. We meet 4 times a year, twice a semester, to review everyone's SRC report. So it's a bi-weekly report that you need to give out to, that you need to submit through a form that I'll be providing. And you do them every 2 weeks until the date. And on that date, SRC, the committee, will come together and review all stipended members, go through their reports and make sure that no one's slacking.
Cool. So with that, yeah. Oh, sorry.
When is the next SRC report due?
So with that, first, is there anybody who wants to do this? Who wants to be on the committee?
Point of clarification.
Oh, sure.
If you have served on SRC last semester, Mario, you can't serve again. Right. So, and so we too are or are able to.
So we can.
I can't.
No, you should.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to vote because I read.
Okay, so is there anybody who would like to serve on the committee?
Yeah, okay. Like maybe Mariam, because you were already on it.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I was just being dramatic. It's just like I save my homework for the weekend. So I mean, it's actually pretty like eye opening. It's like a nice process, and like being able to like have a say in checking people is like empowering. But basically, so everyone submits a report, basically like cataloging what they did over the 2 weeks. Or over the what is it, the quarter? Yeah, we call it quarters. Yeah, cataloging what they did over the quarter, and we don't read them thoroughly, but we look through the reports and we give our like own 2 cents on like the quality of work that all stipend members gave, and then we vote on whether or not they should receive their full stipend, half stipend, 3/4 stipend. And then, bada bing, bada boom. But it's long though.
Yeah, we'll make a day out of it.
I think Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next this semester's SRC meetings are March 10th and May 5th.
You know what? You can Thursday.
Those are Sundays. And your first SRC report is due on Thursday.
This Thursday? Yeah.
So if anyone's available on those 2 days.
Is it the 6th or the 5th?
Well, they're due on the 7th by 11:59 p.m. Which Brandon or Tanya will send you a link to the Google form to fill out.
If you all have a Slack, we send it out through there, and then we also send it out to the officer listserv. So if you get paid, you get an email.
Can I ask a question? Would it be worth possibly pushing this until after elections tonight? Giving 2 more people the opportunity to volunteer.
I feel like I think a senator, somebody who's sat on the Senate should do it. So. Because I feel like it's like it's like comes with experience. I mean, not that it comes with this, not to like invalidate like somebody who just like like got on the Senate, but I just feel like it comes with experience. And like knowing what the quality of work should be, like should come from somebody who's experienced whatever that means.
I do think it is a fair point. I do think that is a fair point. Does it mean that someone who's not running a senator could not serve on this RC? No. Doesn't mean that. But I do think it is a fair point to say that someone who has experience can do it, to allow new senators to figure out even how to do forms.
So I can't make this. That's
It's not mine. I mean, that's the only time I get to vote is SRC. Ever. The only point I vote. They're usually like 5 or 6 hours. That's up to the Brandon and Tanya.
Okay.
What time do we usually have them start?
Unless y'all want to like go into the night.
No, they don't.
But you do
It's
need
your
to
Sunday.
representatives. So get to nominate. So who's going to nominate Jazz?
I nominate
Nominate
Jazz.
yourself.
You can nominate herself.
Seconded.
Oh, Miriam nominated you and Brandon seconded you.
Thank you guys.
Oh wait, no, you used to have to vote her into this thing.
All right. All in favor? All opposed?
Oh, you have to accept the nomination, sorry.
Oh, you said. All right. So all in favor, yes. All senators opposed? No one abstaining? Okay.
Good job, yay.
Yay!
That's one.
All right, we need one more.
How do you have busy Sundays?
Yeah, the day that we left the Sunday.
What's that?
The Sunday on, was it March 10th? Did you say March 10th?
March 10th.
Yeah, we do March 10th.
And May 5th.
You cannot do March 10th? Oh, you can?
Yeah.
I don't know, Francis.
Seconded.
You got it.
Okay, good.
All right, all in favor? Wait, Francis, do you accept? All right, all in favor?
She's like, I don't know.
All right, all opposed? All right.
Good job.
Well, have a great time.
Thank you, Francis.
You'll get fed.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Thank you guys very much. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next item, which is our elections. So we have 2 new senators being elected today. We have Wells right there, and Kalechi, which is she'll be coming, I think, around that time, 6:15. So I have some questionnaires that I'm printing out, which has their responses from their applications. I only have 10, so I'm going to give it to the senators first, and then anybody else who wants one. And Candace.
I don't. I hear you.
Okay.
That's great.
Here we go, guys. All right, we have 3 more. Anybody else want one? You too? Okay. All right. There you go. One more.
You got with yourself, Jared?
I've
Are you okay?
been through these.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
All right. So take. So yeah, take a couple minutes to read through those. We're going to get started at 6:02. Okay, so that's 2 minutes.
I have a question. Forgive me. So I always assumed that like senators were like elected as part of like the elections held by these, right? I don't know. But like, what is the difference between like the senators that were not we, like y'all are elected now? Like,
So there's the original election. So in the spring, all the senators lose their positions. All the positions in SGA are lost, and then everybody's re-elected by the student body. But once the senators are elected, right, the student body doesn't have elections until the following spring. But occasionally there will be vacancies in Senate, in which people will either have to resign because of obligations or other reasons, right? And when that happens, in order to fill those seats, we have elections within the body of Senate to get new senators in their place.
So an example is when Senator McCain passed away, the governor of that state appointed someone to fill that seat until another election. So while that person wasn't elected by the electorate of Arizona, someone still was representing Arizona. Someone said perhaps except y'all elect this person to fill the seat until her senators elect that person.
All right, so we're going to get started with the election of Wells Powell. We've already done introductions, and you've been here for introductions. So here's how. So the way the process is going to work is we'd like for you to open this up with just a little bit of a brief introduction about yourself. You know why you want to run, and then after that, we're going to go into a section of questions in which the senators will be able to ask you any questions about your application, about who you are, what you do, just get a feel. And then right after that, we're going to go into a discussion of just the senators, and then we'll vote. Okay? So, and yes, Mary?
Just for clarification, because she felt that she would have to leave for a portion of it, you're going to sit through the whole thing. You don't have to leave.
Yeah. All right. So this is SL 30-1819. Right here. And Wells, I give the floor to you.
I'm Wells. I'm a junior biology major. I transferred from one semester to college. I want to run because I feel like the position suits me, because I've noticed that the purpose is to connect the students to the faculty to improve the school. And so I feel like because I'm sociable, I can make that connection happen. So I've always felt like being a senator suits me. Besides that, I would like to make the transfer credit process more transparent, because for me it was hard to see what credits transferred into my major and what credits didn't. So it'd be easier for other transfer students to adjust if I make that process simpler. What else you guys want to know? I'm from Harrisburg, PA. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Wells. All right. And now we'll move into the question portion. So, who would like to start us off?
Everyone is allowed to ask questions. Senators are just only people that are voting. So, bring that out there.
You said the candidates?
They can.
Oh, so everyone is allowed to ask questions. Senators alone.
You talked about in your responsibilities of increasing the amount of acceptance. In what ways? Could you give an example of that?
Well, at my past school, while we were with the Senate, we had civil discussions, which talked about really controversial, not really controversial, just things that need to be talked about to bring the community like closer together. So I want to do things like that, because I realized that like the sense of community is like really significant and important. So.
Yes.
Going off of that, my biggest question out of everything is, how well do you know of the community that's here on this campus, and how can you fix it? And how you're going to fix it? That makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
How well do you know this community to be able to fix it? There we go.
Yeah. I'm in the process of learning it because I'm still adjusting in a way. I don't know. I mean, I know that all communities need to be better when accepting like people that don't look like them. So I already knew that it needed to improve. It seems like it's better than my own college, but it's not. Yeah, I can always improve.
Miriam, and then what?
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
As a transfer student, I also empathize with that experience with like the credits and everything. It's very annoying. So what I would want to ask is like, do you already like know like who you were speaking with, and like what kind of plan of action you would have, so that if you were like you know you like it for right?
I know Janae Wilson is part of the transfer credit process, so I like to talk to her. I know she's busy, so I want to get to know her team. But yeah, and the plan, I think I would have to talk to her and then come back because I don't know what they can do.
Yeah. So you talked a bit about your initiative. I guess like what's it called? Making the transfer process more transparent. I was sort of going to ask the same things this way, like who are some like stakeholders that you know, but also how I guess like in tune would you say you are with the transfer community, and like how would you be able to leverage your I guess like participation in the transfer community to SGA's benefit? Because I feel like most of SGA's residential life, so having a transfer student would be, I guess, like beneficial. So how would you leverage your you being a transfer student?
Oh, how would it help me? How would it benefit the Senate?
How would it benefit the Senate?
Yeah.
How would you?
Okay. Yeah, well, since I already went through the process, I can help others. I think also what we can do is we can have a program that connects transfer students to like older transfer students, like maybe like senior transfer students that have already been through the process, because it's a difficult process. It's not cute. So yeah. How would it benefit? I think with my past experience, I think that's helped me, and also with being a transfer student, I can talk to other students and go to transfer student programs, and I can meet other transfer students and get connections with them.
Yes.
One of the biggest things for me in holding this position is the ability to be social and being able to be in many different spaces. And to an extent, most of us do that. So I want to know how would you go about, since you are very new to this campus, you transferred in the fall or the spring? Fall. Okay, so how would you, okay, let me restructure this now that it's in fall. What have you done since you've gotten here in the sense of being sociable and being active on campus? Outside of BSU and soccer?
Yeah, nothing. I need to improve on that. Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's a fair question because like BSU and soccer are like a means of like being social, but like how have you like okay to bridge up like to jump off of Yaz's question, like how have you just been social in general, like going back to my question because I feel like you didn't really answer the question of how you leverage your identity as a transfer student to help SGA, like what stakes do you have in the transfer community, if that makes any sense?
What do you mean by that? Like just what? Like what other transfer students do I know?
Yes, to a certain extent, but also like events like what do you do in the transfer community?
Try to
Yeah.
Like what makes you qualified to like try to represent the transfer voice? That's like what
I think I have the personality to meet new people because I meet new people every day, and I can meet other transfer students. And then once you get talking to them, I don't know if I'm answering your question. I don't know. I haven't done much of that yet because I've been adjusting, but I think I'm doing that in the future from now on.
Is there anything else in the transfer community wise besides the transfer credit process that you would like to start or act on? Anything social wise?
I definitely think there's programs that we could do. I have to research more on that because I have to get to know the campus and then I have to research because every campus is different. So.
Anyone else?
Patrick? You said you were involved in the SGA at Westminster. Yes. What was your position there?
Senator.
Okay. And how long did you work for?
How long was? It was only my freshman to junior year, so 2 years. Yeah.
Sorry, that's one. What like I guess you were elected like twice, 2 terms, or it was like 2-term position?
I was elected twice. Yeah.
Great.
What are some practices that Westminster's Senate practice? I guess like what are some transferable skills that you hope to bring to the Senate?
I learned how to work as a group because we're trying to find practical ideas that we can implicate. So I learned how to like work as a group and listen and add to the discussion so that we can implicate like practical ideas basically.
Yes.
What are some achievements from your SGA Senate in Westminster that you can speak on?
I don't remember that many because it was all a blur. But I think what our Senate did mostly was we connected with the students, we saw what they wanted, and we implicated that. I don't know if it was a lot of big things. It was a lot of like student concerns, like we added cameras, so like the security, like a lot of little things that like helped the experience of the students, not like many. Yeah.
Wait, yes, did you still have to say something?
Yes. To better quantify? No. My question really was what I was trying to get to is like, because I can see what you meant. It wasn't a question. Since you've been here, I meant like in the sense of what events have you gone to on campus? Is that better? Yeah. So outside of BSU and soccer, so what events have you gone to better implement yourself in the UMBC community outside of your room?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I went to open mic. Yeah, did that. It was cool. went to the basketball game. Yeah. That's all. No, I think that's not all. I just don't have the best memory.
Okay.
And then Miriam, and I think this will be our last question. No? Okay, anybody else want to finish this off? Is everyone okay? All right, let's move into the discussion section. All right, senators, who'd like to open us up?
So I just want to hear from you. So what stood out to you? I'm sorry, I just had to like. So what stood out about Wells that I guess prompted you to bring her forward for confirmation?
So Wells, when I was talking to her, things that stuck out to me were she just seemed very, well, she had an idea, or she had an idea of like things that she wanted to change. She seemed very driven and very like, her personality, it was, a lot of her personality is just very just kind of blunt and very much like, she's a doer, you know? So I felt she seemed very driven and motivated, and that's something that I think Randy can attest to, is that's one of the reasons why we picked her, because she seemed like she was a driver. And that's one of the things I think we need to Senate if we want to get things done. And I think that she's a girl who can get things done, even if she hasn't had that much experience at UNBC so far. So, yeah.
I guess to follow that up, no, she didn't. Both, but I felt like this interview didn't like really do her justice. So like, in what aspects do you feel like she didn't do herself justice? Like, what specifically did she talk about at your meeting that you felt like indicated that she was a driver?
Can I add a caveat to that? Like,
Yeah.
like specifically.
I mean, I can talk about something.
So the discussion is like, about, yeah. Sorry.
Well, it's everything. You know, I'm gonna take notes in here. Okay. Yes.
I have a question about the discussion. Is it only the senators that talk?
Yeah.
Only the senators?
I want to say, since we're the ones voting.
No.
Yeah, typically it's been other people, but the company, yeah.
So, should speak to one.
No, I just have the question.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't have my notes.
It's okay.
Okay, but it was mostly just her personality and like the way she sort of came off. I thought that she would be able to. I thought that she would fit the role well. So I can't give you a specific right now. So, yeah. Of course.
I'm trying to also remember, because I also saw this sheet, and I think one thing that I was interested by as well as when I reviewed your notes was that she had actionable items, and that was unique in the interview process. That a lot of people kind of came in with like their heart in the right place, but they didn't really have kind of like ideas. And then also in the review, seeing the action that she's already taken in her previous experiences kind of like painted this picture of someone who was courageous and willing to take that step and move forward rather than like waiting for things to happen.
Yes.
My biggest reservation is the social aspect of it, and just going off of like her experience here so far. Like I'm not expecting for her to have like a lot of experience, but for the semester that she has had, how much she has inserted herself in these places, because it really is trying to learn what the community is here, and coming from her same experience as being a transfer student, coming from a whole different university, and really having to insert myself for me to be able to sit here and be like,
I see this is where I can help and improve it, that's where I'm kind of like stepping a bit back from it.
Patrick?
I agree partially. I think my reservation, and it was assuaged a little bit by you speak and actually both of you speaking on those specific action items you guys said existed. But I do agree as well. I think that there was sort of like, I was sort of disappointed by the answers we got to the kind of like the stakeholder questions on transfer. I was kind of excited to hear the answer because I think I was expecting a little bit more. Now sometimes it just doesn't translate well. I think we were being a little bit vague with the questions, so I understand. Definitely like willing to grant grace there, and that's helped me out as well. But I do have a little bit of reservations as well along the yes lines.
Mary?
So, I mean, I know Wells outside of SGA. Like I met her at like a soccer game. So like that's why I felt like outside of like BSU and what's it called, soccer club was sort of like, I mean like she's in 2 clubs, and I've seen her at like several events. So like I'm not necessarily looking for somebody to like be a social person like on campus, and I definitely feel like she's inserted herself like in the places that I've seen her. But I felt like the answers to the questions were very apathetic. It was like meh, you know, like and I like this picture of like being a driven person that you painted. I just did not see it in her like confirmation answers. So like I just need a little bit more convincing. Yeah.
Right.
I'm really interested in Wells's focus on transfer students. I don't feel like we have that really slice of the pie. I know Yaz is a transfer, but I feel like your interests and your goals are so broad. I'm interested in someone who is like specifically like championing these goals, and I see benefit in her not being in UMBC for too long, because then she's like fresh out of the transfer process, and that seems to be the work that she wants to do, is improving that process. So for the purposes of what she's interested in, I can see lasting benefits.
Francis?
As Miriam stated, I am lacking a little confidence. I agree with that. There were some instances where she said something, and after what you said, I do believe that there's a driven person, and there's no doubt about that, but I do have some reserves about the standard that the SGA has here versus the standard that she was used to. And meeting those along the answers that I was looking for, because of what she stated of having a previous experience on an SGA senator, I expected a little bit more of her initiative and more of other initiatives that she might have had.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out that she mentioned she was still transitioning and trying to understand the infrastructure of the university. So I mean, I feel like it could be rough, like being a senator, having all that responsibility and still being in the transitioning phase.
So I guess it's sort of like follow up to like that. So like, what does that mean about like your stance?
But yeah, I'm a little reserved.
Okay.
Yeah, just because of the transitioning aspect. Yeah.
Anyone else? All right. Is there a motion?
I feel like I sort of like would motion to like hear sort of like not necessarily a follow up to like what was said during the discussion period, because I felt like Wells wanted to chime in when you brought up like a specific instance, and I found it like a little confusing, like why you didn't bring up the specific instance like during your questioning period, because I was like, well, you could have said that, but I mean, if you have a specific instance that she wants to share, can I request to hear that?
Sure.
Okay.
I didn't share it because of like, it was less SGA, it was more like personal, and I think it more shows my personality. There was an instance where a teacher said like the N-word to me, and we had a discussion, but he didn't address it how it needed to be addressed, because he wasn't gonna stop doing it, and so we
I'm sorry. That's just
yeah.
me. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't really have, that's where the community aspect comes from, because I didn't really have a lot of support from that school. And so, but besides that, my friend and I, we didn't make it a point for him to get fired, but we made it a point for him to have some action, then he ended up being fired. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Is there a motion?
Move to approve SL 30-1819.
Seconded.
All right. Okay, so all senators for. All right, all senators opposed? All right, number of senators abstaining? No? All right, so it's 4-4.
Well.
Yeah.
2/3 majority.
Wait.
Didn't pass them. Well, it does not pass them, so, well, thank you for coming out. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And you're still free to like, yep, and whereas. I guess, make sure that you know that just because you're not a senator doesn't mean you can't move forward with the initiatives that you're trying to do. That you still have the power as a student to see the change happen that you want to see. So I don't want this to come out as.
And also, just because you're not an official member of the SGA does not mean that, or like an elected member of the SGA doesn't mean that you're not like a member of the SGA. So we are your stakeholders essentially. Like, and anything you want to bring to the table, we are here to assist you.
Meetings are always open.
Yeah.
And elections are soon, so you can always just run.
Apply again?
Yeah.
Okay. See you.
Thank you.
All right, well.
So the first like non-confirmation I've ever sent, like Francis said, this is the first.
I think there was one that.
I don't think I was there with it. Yeah.
I don't know that.
There was one. Just us, I mean,
Are you? Been one that we like first, right? We've never not. I like Candace.
Oh, you know.
All right, great. So collection. Thank you for waiting. We really appreciate it. Y'all went a little bit longer than we were expecting. So, all right. So let's begin with introductions, and we'll do this pretty quick because we went over. So just name and and position. So I'm Jared. I'm senator, and I serve as the speaker. And Brandon.
I'm Brandon. Lou, I use he, him pronouns, and I use the speaker.
okay, I'm Malloy. I'm a first ambassador, she, her pronouns.
Candace Martinez-Down, Assistant Director for Leadership and Governance, and I serve as SGA Advisor, she, her pronouns.
I'm Robbie, I'm Secretary, she, her pronouns.
I'm Francis, I'm a senator, she has pronouns.
Done. Okay. I'm Yasmin, a senator. She, her, hers. What else? Okay.
Hi, I'm Brenda, the Executive Vice President. I use she, her pronouns.
I am Marion. I am a sophomore. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a senator.
I'm Sean, I'm first year ambassador.
Hi, I'm Asabri. I'm a first-year ambassador, and I use she.
Hi, my name is Soed. more first year guys.
Okay, hi, my name is Kalechi. Good.
I'm 17, Senator, and Egan.
Patrick, Senator Egan. I'm Reggie. I don't have a role, but I'm just here. Yes. He,
All right, great. Okay, so Kalechi, this is how it's going to work. All right, it's going to start. We prefer if you just give us, or we prefer if you just open us up with a little introduction of like yourself and why you'd like to run. And then after that, it's going to move into a questioning session where senators are going to be able to ask you some questions about your application and about you, whatever they want. And then right after that, there's going to be a discussion among just the senators. And then we're all going to vote, okay? All right, so would you like to open us up with a little introduction?
Okay, well, my name is Kalechi. I am a transfer student. I transferred here about a year ago. Yeah, I transferred here a year ago. So I've been at UMBC for a year. Transferred to Houston to UMBC. I'm a biology major and as of recently a psychology minor because just found out that I'm really interested in psychology as well as biology. I'm on the pre-med track, and I'm currently working as a desk staffer at Chesapeake Hall. And the reason why I applied to be a senator because I wanted to get involved with SGA. I'm really interested in politics. I thought a great way to start would be like student government. I actually don't have any experience in student government, but I'm willing to do the work.
Thank you. All right, would anyone like to open us up with questions? Okay.
Okay, so is there a change or initiative you're interested in working on if you were to become senator this year?
I think I'm interested in how we treat transfer students here because I know when I first came here it was really hard for me to adjust to I guess a new school and having to bring the start all over again. It's kind of like freshman all over and just finding spaces where I fit in and belong. That was really hard. It took me like probably about a year to really adjust to how things are very different here as compared to Towson. I had a lot of questions and I feel like I know there's a transfer student network and I felt as though I kind of, I don't know, I didn't really reach out as much to them, but they did reach out to me. I wasn't as open to it at the time, so I don't know, I feel like there are certain things that kind of done a little bit different. And
So what are some of the things that you felt could have been made differently? Or what are some of the things that you could have, what are some of the things that you thought could have been done differently or hope to implement if you are to become a senator?
I feel like there could be more programs that have been like, I guess, programs for different interests that include like different transfer students. Like, I feel like the programs were quite like surface level. They weren't as, in my opinion, my personal opinion. That's why I wasn't really interested in that. And I believe they probably only contacted me like once. So I feel like the outreach could have been a little bit more often. Could have been done more often. That way I would like see it more and then be able to respond.
Sean?
You said that you're currently waiting and applying for responses from jobs and research labs. So if you were to get a job offer from a research lab, how would you manage your time with that in the Senate? Like what priorities?
It's a great question. I usually stick to calendars. I keep a calendar in my, on my computer, and I also have a agenda book where I write down everything that I have planned for the week and also the next week. So that's how I keep my life organized without that I would be in shambles. If I were to get offered a position to work in a research lab, I would have to definitely time manage, and a good way that I do that would be using a calendar app on my phone and also on my laptop and agenda book.
So you were mentioning the lack of outreach, and I was wondering how, like, I'm assuming you have friends who are also transferred.
Yes.
So I was wondering some of their opinions that you would like witness.
Yeah, my roommate is actually transferred. We transferred together from Towson University and pretty much have the same issue as well. It's really hard for us to really put ourselves out there, especially since like we're both kind of introverted. So this is really taking a big step for me, like applying for senator and also having to speak in front of you guys. And it's also helping me a little bit with my slight anxiety in public speaking. But that's my point. So pretty much she was kind of complaining about the same thing. She kind of wished there were like, I guess, more things to do on campus as compared to our old university. So yeah, and more things for transfer students.
On her C that you said you want to be somebody who's more outspoken and active about on campus and off campus. Could you give like an example of something that you're passionate about, whether on campus or off campus, that like you want to be more outspoken about? Just like a good example or something.
I believe something that I could do more, that I would want to be more outspoken about is, I guess, like for instance, the Black Lives Matter movement. I wish, like a lot of times there are a lot of protests that go on about it, and in the past, like I remember just going through social media and being like, oh, I want to be a part of that, and being able to speak at rallies and stuff, and a lot of things that were like, some of the things that were holding me back would be like your public speaking and stuff like that. So I think that's also another initiative that I want to work on, because there's some microaggressions that I've seen on campus. So I think, and also sexual assault as well. A lot of things are coming to light about that. So I want to, help to be a part of that movement as well. So it's another initiative I would like to work on and advocate for.
Thank you.
Okay. My biggest question is, since you've been here for a year and you said OCSS has reached out to you when you first transferred, and you kind of didn't get involved like with that because it seemed surface level type of events that they were hosting, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you gone and done any of their events within that year post you being a new transfer?
Actually haven't, I'll be honest.
So you haven't gone to any of their events?
No.
So you based it off of
It off of what was written in the email.
Okay.
So I guess I appreciate that I should have gone. So I guess that's my fault on my part.
So, what do you believe like the Senate, like a Senate position entails? Like what do you believe like your job as a senator is?
I believe my job, well, if I were to get a position, I believe that a senator is someone who advocates for students and acts as a bridge between the gap that there is between administration and students. As a student, I feel like it's a little bit hard to reach out to them because they're so much more older and they have degrees and more experience. And I believe senators, it's like you're talking to someone that's around your age that you can like kind of unload whatever issues you have about the school. You know, I feel like a lot of times, like as students, we often complain to each other about certain things. Like for example, lack of parking spaces for, I guess, students. Like those are some of the complaints that I've heard, and I've issued with it as well.
So, what qualities or experiences do you have or possess that you think will allow you to serve as that like intermediary between the student body and administration? Like, what tangible ways would you be able to facilitate that discussion?
Well, I feel that I personally think I'm someone who's quite approachable, and I feel like that's a key aspect to being a senator, especially if you're trying to reach out to students. And if you're not approachable, then you can't really talk and relate to someone. I also feel like I'm kind of relatable, or like I'm the type of person who's like, if you're having a bad day, you come and talk to me about whatever you're going through. And I feel like once you start that conversation, it opens the doors to a lot of other issues that students may have about the school.
You said that you've been here for a year, so I just want to ask, how involved have you been on campus to like know the student body and know how you can improve yourself as a student?
Well, I'm part of ESU campus, and I'm also part of the STAR program. That's part of that. It's a program where once a week, I believe, pretty much, it's pretty much for people who are in our STEM majors, and once a week we go to a school in Baltimore, and we teach the kids about certain STEM topics, and so I've been on a couple of our field trips, and I'm also part of the national residency
NRA kids?
Yes, yeah. So I'm also part of that. Currently, yes, and I feel like those experiences and those different levels of allow me to like talk with different students from different backgrounds and such, and just connect with people more over the past year that I've been here.
I wanted to ask if maybe you could give like an example, either maybe here or like at Towson, of maybe an initiative or like something that you like participated in, organized, whatever it may be, that you feel like can transfer over like as you time.
So, like an example.
Yeah, like an example, like maybe like an initiative or something that you like an action that you participated in, so like can change.
Okay. And does it have to be like a change in the school specifically, or
Well, it could be
for
like
other
a housing,
communities?
or
Okay.
whatever.
Okay, one example I gave was part of the STAR program, and I helped create the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint that we used to present to the kids so that they could learn more about biology, for example, because that day we were teaching them biology, and we did an experiment for the kids, and it was just really satisfying and interesting to watch how they interacted with each other and also with us, and how they were learning concepts through touching and feeling the different parts of the cell. So that was really fun, and I realized that like I really love working with kids as well. So I think that's, I answered your question, as something that I participated in, and also helped teach them some of the things about different parts of the cell. So.
I have two questions. I was wondering what other events you've attended on campus besides OCSS?
Just recently I went to this event last week called the Pop Culture Pop-Up, where we talked about pretty much pop culture and certain things that happened over winter break. For example, the R. Kelly documentary, and we also talked about how a lot of times sexual assaults like pushed and shoved under the rug, especially in minority communities, like the Black community. A lot of times we let men, especially men that have power, get away with certain things. So I know we mainly talked about the R. Kelly documentary, but that kind of like bled into other topics as well. So that was really great to be a part of, and I wish we had more events like that I could go to. So yeah, that was something I was really
And then the next question is, in your first semester here, was there a specific event that stood out to you that you wanted to go to, that you went to? That you,
It was actually so long ago, I actually don't remember.
Was there any event that year, like as a transfer student coming to a university, you said that OCSS didn't really have the events that you were looking for? Was there an event where it was like, okay, I went here, I met you before, you remember that experience?
Well, I don't remember from my first semester, but I remember can you come back to that question so I can think about it a little bit? Sorry.
So how have your I guess like the relationships that you've made and your I guess like presence as members of the BSU, ASA, and clubs like that contributed to like these skills that you think you can bring to SGA? Like what have you done in BSU and ASA that you think you can transfer over to Senate?
ASA last semester they had a show called Jumbo Night, and it was supposed to showcase different. So pretty much. Okay. So BSU they had a show called State University, and it was supposed to showcase different designers' work. So I helped, I guess, create the decorations for that, and assisted in helping set up for the show. And I also walked in the show, so I believe that experience pretty much helped me working with other people, and also taking instructions and directions and orders. So that was really interesting to see like the different dynamics and different types of people that I work with, and also learning to, I guess, slow to anger, because you are working with different people and everyone comes with their experiences and different personalities. So I feel like that's something that I take in with me, and just being able to mesh well with other people, even if it may appear rough on the surface.
So you said that you're confident approaching students on campus. How confident do you think you are with your abilities of communicating with staff members?
I feel like that's something that I honestly have to work on. I think I'm more comfortable approaching students because it's like standard with staff members. I feel like as long as I come into that situation prepared with a game plan, I think that could help me in how I formulate my words and stuff like that. Being able to communicate my message towards them in a way that it's logical and it makes sense and it's something that we can actually work towards, especially given the finances that are allocated to SGA for that.
Bigger question that I've had is being a senator is being about is being able to be open and willing to reach out to stakeholders to further your initiatives or further SGCs or whatever it is. And my question is, how do you think you would deal with that, being that when you got here, and since you've been here, that you admitted like you were kind of, lax about that?
Wait, so the question?
So the question is, like, since that's the job of a senator, how effective do you think you'd be able to do that when you have that title and that's expected of you?
gotten over the whole thing of having to adjust to UMBC, and I think that was where a lot of my reservations lied in, because it was like a new environment, and I was a little bit like shy and introverted. But now that I'm used to and more accustomed to how the campus is, I feel like I'll be able to reach out to,
So just people that are in different fields and in administration, higher up people that we have to communicate and collaborate with in order to be effective senators.
Yeah, I think I'll be able to do that perfectly fine, because like I think that like I've just gotten over the whole thing of having to adjust to things here on campus, and I think I'll be able to communicate with them effectively.
So I know you kind of already addressed the research and your response to that. I was wondering when you would receive a response from that, and what would your decision be in regards to the research opportunity?
So I will probably receive a response sometime during school semester, because I'm trying to work with that lab over the summer.
Okay.
And so not this semester. And my response would be yes.
I just was curious if it was next semester. Next semester. Yeah.
Any other questions? All right. We're going to move into discussion now. So would anybody like to start us off? Would you like me to start us off? Sure. All right. Cool. So I really liked Kalechi, and the reason that I brought her here is because, first of all, the one thing that stuck out to me about her, that I mean, it's kind of been a moot point over this conversation with the questions, but is that she seems very passionate, or she is very passionate about the position, and she's very organized, she's a very hard worker, and I think that that's something that we need as a senator. As far as like the event attendance, I was a little bit confused with those questions, because I understand how it relates to what she was saying about not, I guess, her being a little bit lost when she first got to UMBC, but as far as her ability to do the role, or to, I guess, to make change on campus, I don't think that that is as relevant as some other things. One thing that stuck out to me again was that when I was talking to her, she mentioned that she was a very good team player, and that she works well with other people, and she is, from what me and Brandon, well, I don't know if I can speak on your behalf, but like, she seemed like she was the type of person that was very, I guess, good at communicating with people. Good. She seemed like whenever, and we specifically asked her about the administrative piece and like how she could communicate, or would she be comfortable communicating with people in positions of power, was the way we phrased the question. And her response was that she felt comfortable, and that one of the things that stuck out to me, she mentioned that she would need to go prepared, and she mentioned that she would write down and create a plan for the way that she would actually go about doing it, so that when she got there, she would have the materials ready, she'd have the plan of all of her ideas, the way that it would go about. I really like that organizational approach. So altogether, she seemed very passionate, organized, and I thought she could do a good job. So.
So as it relates to like examples, like concrete examples, I think that was like a theme in like Wells's conversation as well, since they're candidates. But I felt like there were opportunities to provide examples to skills, and those examples weren't provided. It was very like, I don't even think it was like anecdotal. It was also like, I'm organized, I'm this, and like I wanted to hear examples, which is why I asked her, but I didn't get those examples. So I'm a little reserved about confirming yes, because I don't like, I'm not seeing the confidence.
Yeah.
The point of the whole matter of events and why that's important to me, again, coming from my experience as being a transfer student from a whole other school, in her time of being here, the perception of what is available to students, and if that is your audience that you're aiming to represent in this Senate body, I feel like you had to have at least had the experience of going at least once, you know what I'm saying, to say that it wasn't effective or was effective. And knowing that I had at least gone to at least one, or other transfer students have gone to at least one thing, regardless of how long we've been here, to be able to effectively say, okay, I see where the problem is. That's where I was like, that's why it's important to me, because in order to fix something, I gotta know what's wrong. And I can't fix it if I don't know what's wrong and it just sounds like it was worded wrong. And there's so many opportunities, and there's a lot of things that happen on Main Street that is sponsored by OCSS that could have been taken advantage of, and in the year that she has been here, that she didn't go to. And she admitted, you know, that she didn't reach out because she was shy and reserved, and that's fine. But I just think in order to be able to represent those students, you have to at least be a part of it. And I feel like she's kind of removed from that. That was what was important for me.
So Francis and then Patrick.
Okay, so I had some initial concerns about the research. I was really unclear. I'm glad that's cleared up, and I understand that as a center position management semester. But there's nothing that I can see that's competing with content. I do think after you clarified a lot of things for me, specifically about the organization and being driven, being able to get teams there, I think those are key things that are hard to be accepted. But I also think having, I see the willingness to make an impact on campus, but I'm lacking a little of the picture. I can't really see what she was talking about, like a little bit of awareness. I'm looking for the example, and specifically in regards to the initiative, I was looking for that picture of something that I could see in my head. It was kind of cloudy, so that's why I was hurt.
Yeah, actually, I'm really glad you said that. Because initially, the first question I remember, I was reserved a little bit more, kind of along the same lines as last one as well. But I think that as we move forward, I think I'm definitely yes where I am now. I think we kind of saw a good progression of like coming out of her shell a little bit more and being more willing to kind of show us who she is. I really appreciate that. And I also want to draw attention to that third question on the questionnaire. Like, what do you want to gain and who do you want to be? I asked that passion question very specifically because I was curious about that. Because I think there is, as Jared said, observed or read it. But I think there's an underlying passion there, and I'm not sure. I do understand the importance of what you were asking with the events and stuff, but I think that it's sort of all in that same lines of like, you don't really know something until you know it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like a question of like, oh, like, especially for this position, like, so a lot of people don't know how they can affect change until they're in a position to affect change. Now, of course, that's not always the best thing, because of course you should be leading by example, even if you're not a leadership position, all that stuff. But I think that that's a point that needs to be spoken. It's like, a lot of people can change campus once they've been given a good platform to help change campus with. That's just my thought process there. But I would definitely vote yes.
Sort of like to speak to Yaz's point. I think that's like valid to have reserves about someone not going to an event. But I also think that somebody as like an outsider, like that was a problem that she saw with the event. She felt like they didn't reach out to her as much as they wanted her, as much as she wanted them to. So I feel like that's like a valid reason not to go. And like people are different. Like no one has to have like a concrete reason not to go to an event. So like yes, she can go to the event, but I don't think that like that should be held against her like to the extreme. But I do speaking to Francis's point about not seeing the vision, like she talked about how she came here and she felt like she wasn't provided the opportunity to adjust, I guess, as smoothly, but again didn't provide like concrete ways that she would want to change the experience for other people. She said that she would want to send more emails or like increase outreach, but I wanted to see like a more concrete reason or like initiative. Yeah.
But for that point, just, I feel like a lot of senators come in and they have like big visions for change, or sometimes, like, for me, I came in, I didn't really have the specific change that I wanted to make, right? But I think that part of being in Senate is where you iron out, okay, what's feasible, what's not feasible. And this is part of my job with all of you, is to support you guys and help you figure out something that is tangible that you can accomplish as a senator, right? So I think that the fact that what she wants to do might be a little bit more opaque. I think that is something that we can iron out into something very tangible and progressive toward UMBC's initiatives, just by nature of Senate. But yes?
I feel like I'm not being clear. So, I think she has, once she explains to us the other organizations she's a part of, shows that she's able to put herself in these communities that make up UMBC. The thing why because I'm not holding the events against her, it's with the greater meaning of it is for me, and our duty as a senator is just being present. And when you do give somebody a platform to implement change, sometimes that's all they need. You still need a solid foundation. And I don't feel like her foundation is solid enough for me to say, I believe she can effectively make change with her voice because her foundation doesn't seem solid to me. So it's beyond going to the events, it's beyond responding to what their outreach has been so far. It's the bigger picture and everything. So I don't think she's incapable of it, but I think from what has been presented to me in her past experience, it's not enough, in my opinion. That's what I'm talking about.
I have a question after all this.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask.
Okay. Any other questions? Or any other statements again?
Can we ask questions about the other surveys?
What do you mean?
Like it's discussions.
Oh, you want to ask questions to us?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Okay.
I think for me to get over the vision aspect, I was wondering if you guys noticed something that I didn't state that you're seeing that I'm not. So maybe like I could help with it, because you did state some points on the vision, and I am getting there, but I would just like one more thing, kind of to convince me that you're seeing that I'm kind of not seeing it.
Brandon?
Answer that. When I was part of, so this now being the second interview that I was part of Fletchy, one thing that I see is that I'm looking for qualities in a person that can assure me that there is like success, and that they can go about it in a way that I feel models the philosophies of Senate. So one thing that I really like is her strengths in inclusion, and I think that's really big in our position. She described working with people that are not working with a diverse body of people, and I think that's important both when communicating with students and when communicating with administrators. And so I like that sort of collaborative mindset, and the drive to make UMBC a better place in which you came. So I see her able to achieve success, even if what that point is might not be clear yet.
And Kai?
Like speaking to that, it took me a while to figure out where I was going to place my vote, but after a while, I thought there's a learning curve to everything. And although although she has a very vague, opaque idea, it's an idea nonetheless, and I think Jerry can help iron it out. So it's a start, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't need to like be feeding a fat horse, but I think I definitely like I understand what you mean by like ironing out like a what's it called, a vision, or like no matter how opaque it may sound or be, and I also agree with Brandon about like, you know, somebody having skills that you think will lead to success. I think sort of like to go back to my old point, not to say that she's unqualified, but I felt like the skills that were stated were sort of like, I have these skills. I wanted to see like demonstration, sort of like I work with more people. I wanted to see like, how have I put myself out there? How have I done this? And how it has demonstrated that I have this skill that I can bring to Senate. And I feel like for like the end of, like towards the end of this spring semester, we want somebody to like actually like be here and like, you know, do this, like, you know. So I want to see like concrete examples as to how you can bring those skills. But now that I'm listening to you and like your I guess like interview with her, I want to know like what, I mean, I think you said it, but specificity is sort of like what I'm looking for. Like what told you that she was an organized person besides her literally telling you that she's organized and that she has a like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like what event did she like? As you can speak to this, Colette, you can speak to this as well if you want to.
Well, okay, so it's not really an event, but it's more something that my family and I do. We kind of have a book drive where we send books to children in Nigeria and Cameroon. We also have Nigeria and Cameroon. My mother is a strong believer of charity starts at home. So we send books and clothes, and a lot of them are they're slightly used. So we usually send those back home. It starts off with my cousins, and then it goes off into other children that need it. And also, okay, yeah, and also I've been to Nigeria before, I believe twice, and I have helped volunteer at the hospital that my parents help donate money to. So that is one example. I don't know why I didn't think to bring that up when you guys were. Yeah, so that is one major example. The hospital is called the Aladuma Hospital. It's in my father's village, in Missouri, which is in Imo State in Nigeria. That is.
To also answer your question was, we were talking to her about like hypothetical situations, speaking with people, and when we like the game plan and writing notes and things like that. So when we were interviewing her, and as we all have today, she would bring up organizational elements unprompted, and so I think that speaks towards how, since we're talking about organization specifically, that's really a strength for her. And the nature of her examples, I think, was there, and that that's why it stood out to me.
I think my final point here is just like, I feel like tonight we're kind of like in the perfect, the enemy of the good, in the sense of like we have a good candidate before us. No, she's not perfect. Yes, of course, there are shortcomings. I think we've all had our shortcomings with stuff. But I saw it a little bit with the, and I hate to do this, like with the last candidate, I feel like we were a little hard, rightfully so. I agree with the choice we made, but I want to make sure that we're not trying to like follow that up by being like, trying to be equally just tough on a candidate who is good. Not perfect, but good. So that's just my 2 cents on that.
All right, is there a motion?
Move to approve SL 321819, election of clergy.
Second.
Actually, this one's 31.
Oh.
I forgot to check the title, I guess. Let me do that.
Patrick,
You gotta come in with the.
No.
What?
You accept it.
No.
Are you sure?
No. That right.
Yeah. See, it's 31 right here. It just was 32 over there.
Did you put in the one?
I can't dance a lot.
No.
It might be 32 on track.
If it's 32 in the transfer, it should be 32.
Wow.
Okay.
I want you to break a hip.
Well,
Oh, okay. All right.
was SL 31 ever a thing?
Was it not the candidate previous to this that did not get voted in?
It was not that candidate, it was the one who I emailed that.
Oh, that was
going to
the
be
reason?
actually
Oh,
bad.
that's another, so that is legislation. It is in the order that it's introduced.
Right,
So
so it
this-
should be 31.
This should be 31.
Right, I'll change it in the ledger then.
Okay.
Okay, so there needs to technically be a new motion.
Move to approve 311819, election of clergy.
Second.
Good luck, Robbie.
Would anyone like to register?
Oh, do I need to like
an
record
abstention?
that it was changed?
Oh, y'all
Would anyone like to register an abstention? All right. All senators for? Senators opposed? Okay, abstaining, no present. All right, well, with that, this motion passes. Congratulations. All right, come up here, your oath. All right, so just raise your right hand and just repeat after me. So,
Someone take a picture.
wait. All right, so I state your name. Solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of Senator of the UMBC Student Government Association and will, to the best of my ability, promote and defend the interests and well-being of UMBC's undergraduate students. All right, congratulations.
Hey, hi.
All right. You should do that. You can tell them something. There, are you a yes?
The most.
Are you a yes or no? What? Are you a yes or no? Oh, yeah, you're the most. All right, and this meeting's gone long over. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize that these would go that long. The other ones were black clicker. So, with that, since we're past the meeting time, if you guys would, or we're going to do a vote just to, if we would like to continue with the meeting or move directly to announcements. All right. So, what? There's elections 2019. It was like Candace's 5-minute thing.
What, you want me to table? You want to table that?
I think you can table that. My announcement.
All right, well, so we can do both. We can do both, but it's a
No, I
Senate
think
vote.
I need to say something.
Well,
yeah,
it's my-
Senate vote.
All right, it's a Senate vote. So, senators, if you'd like to move directly to announcements and skip the elections, vote, I guess.
So we're voting for tabling the conversation.
Right, vote for tabling the conversation.
Tabling as a
Time sensitive.
All right. So, okay, now vote if you would like to not table the conversation. Okay.
It's not my announcement.
All right. Well, then we will not be tabling it. All right.
They're
so
not
we're gonna
tabling.
continue.
Oh.
All right. So that goes to Candace.
Wait, can't.
Do you need to rest? Yeah, I can. Yeah. You need to go back.
I think Candace is
Is that a short thing?
Candace is
I can just.
Oh, yeah. I can do elections real quick. My turn, I have the floor?
Yes.
So as you may be aware, spring elections are on the horizon. And you have a full election board that is running spring elections. Your election board chair, which you confirmed, Jessica Kwan, is getting ready to release the application to run, for the candidate application. My understanding from her is that will be released next week to the general student population to complete, to put your name in the hat for elections. But you will share more of that information soon. I think really the sort of the mental note that I want to make sure you all have is that while spring is election season, there's still business to be done in Senate. Right? So for those of us who were not here last semester, the tangible product that came out of fall semester, I'm holding it right here. We did lots of conversations, and there was lots of really good support, but there wasn't a lot of product that came out of Senate. And so lots of the conversations that you're having today are, what is the product that we're going to have come out of Senate, right? And so that, I think, is something to continue to keep at the forefront of your mind, even as you are running for next year, right? And if there is still business to be done, initiatives to be completed, and real work to be accomplished spring semester 2019. Okay. In addition, we all are aware of if you're going to run, there are places where we don't talk. It's sort of like Fight Club. Right? First rule of Fight Club, don't talk about Fight Club. First rule of elections, don't talk about elections in SGA spaces. That's this space, that's the SGA office, that's with me, I don't talk to you about it. Generally, when does the application due? Here, this is what it is. Now, how should I do this? I don't know. Can't advise you on that.
You're not running strategy for anything.
No, I'm not. I do not have a secret slate. That's not how this works. So, can't wear shirts in this space, in the office, that are, can't wear paraphernalia. You can't wear your election para in SGA spaces. But that will be all communicated to you more clearly if you are to run in your candidate orientation. But I think the real big thing is there's work to be done in spring 2019 because you have been elected to fill this seat, to do this work right now. That is, cannot forget that. It will be hard to not forget that. Or it'll be easy to forget it. Hard not to. I don't know how that is. Is that clear? That makes sense? Yeah? Yes?
Yeah, so the elections are for
next year.
Okay, so for all these positions.
Yes.
May 15th at 6 p.m.
May 15th?
May 15th, 6 p.m.
Is when your term
at 5:59.
Yeah. Yes. It was like.
There's a 60-second term.
Where I'm in charge of everything. And so that's my 5-minute election 2019.
All right. Thank you, Candace.
You're welcome.
All right. So that's it for this meeting. All right. We're going to move into announcements.
Oh.
Wait, what? Brandon?
That's what I guessed.
Oh.
So that's it.
Yeah, we're going to move into announcements now.
Did you have something?
I just want I'll announce it during my.
Okay. Yeah, it's announcements.
Sorry. If I could just schedule the meeting now, with everyone, that would be great.
So I'll do that after.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's also I need to meet with Sabatine, Kai, and Patrick for scheduling your office hours. Okay. For this week. That's right after meeting. Okay. Call.
Can I do my announcements?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So my first announcement is actually about the reminder of elections mostly to add on to Candace's things, cannot stress enough, it is not appropriate to talk about your campaign or someone else's campaign in SGA spaces. It is not appropriate. I want to add on to what Candace was saying with SGC meetings. I have seen and heard it, and it's uncomfortable because you're talking to like administrator, it's weird, just still. So formal SGA capacities do not discuss campaign stuff. Brenda and I have a lot of interviews coming up for different vacancies, so get ready for that. Good times. On a fun note, I've added basketball games to everyone's calendar. This is going to be a cool opportunity for us to kind of hang out and not be in Senate, not be in 318, not be in the SGA office. 2, basketball is pretty decent again this year, so that's not a bad thing. And I think that would be a cool thing to have, like a little SGA section of basketball games. So if you come out, great. Yeah, I'll miss you. The next thing is I keep emailing it out, and I'm being very, very serious that we need help filling out the Google form about the governor's proposed budget. We are getting $7 million more. That is not chump change, people. That could mean lower tuition costs. That means more faculty. That means more classes. Everything. You have to, as a senator, you have a fancy title that has institutional weight. Please fill out that form to use your title and leverage your power, because what we're going to do from that form is literally make a mail merge letter situation, and from the SGA office we will mail, postage, letter, the whole thing to your state legislatures, so in the House of Delegates and in the state Senate. We will do all of that for you, but you have to fill out that Google form, and we're asking you to do that by, like, I don't know, Wednesday. The form should take you no more than 5 minutes to fill out. Yes?
Can the form be filled out by anyone else?
We're starting with internal to SGA, and then I've asked Jared if we can start figuring out an initiative to work with other students outside of SGA. We're starting with SGA because y'all have fancy titles, and people pay attention to titles. Then people start paying attention to quantity, so then if there's 5,000 letters, they'll have to listen. So that's important too. The last thing I want to talk about is just a heads up to the heads up. So tomorrow, Carly and I will be releasing our budget to you all, so Senate and Finance Board. So budget is one of those things that is like we have to do. We are 100% going to be done with budget before spring break. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We will be calling a meeting on Friday before break if it's not passed. And that's not much of a joke. So I would, if I were you all, I would read the budgetary policy and I would read just the section about the budget. Because what you all should know is the president and or the treasurer will present a budget to Senate. So that means so Carly and I are working on a budget together. It does not have to be that way. I could write my own budget, Carly could write her own budget, and we present it to Senate. We're not doing that. When we present the budget to Senate, it really is just a recommendation. So Senate has the power to look at individual line items and increase or decrease line item per line item. I highly do not recommend going through that approach because it is a colossal waste of literally everyone's time. Instead, I would like to propose the budget to you all and then have conversations over the next few weeks about why certain line items are one way or another. So there's no vote happening next week at all. So you all have that fun power, right? So the actual piece of legislation to pass the budget is joint legislation. Finance Board does not have that power. They do not have the power to go line item by line item to increase or decrease, because that makes sense. But instead what they can do is deny the joint legislation if there's something that Senate did that they don't agree with. So this is how the budget process can be time consuming, and I don't recommend it. I think we should just all be on the same page, which is why Carly and I are approaching this with so much time, because we'd rather have conversations and be thoughtful so we don't get to that point. Miriam.
So how are these conversations, like, I guess, like proposed, or like supposed to be held? Are you going to come individually to talk to people about why you chose to, or like why you increased or decreased a certain line item, or are we supposed to reach out to you based on your proposal?
So we'll have a formal presentation next week, which I'm hoping 90% of your questions will answer. If they don't, and you have a problem after that, I'm going to say that you need to schedule a one-on-one with Carly and or myself.
And all new senators, or people who haven't seen the budget, because I mean,
Yep.
we did go over the budget at retreat, but I know a lot of you weren't there, so if you haven't seen the budget, I mean,
We're
you
gonna
are
figure out.
strongly encouraged to go.
We're gonna figure out a time to do what we did at the retreat for people that missed that session, because that's another thing. I'm not. Again, budget is a very long process. I'm not taking time out of this meeting to explain what line items are, what the monies are used for. We did all of that at retreat. So I will be offering that to officers, to brand new officers. And if you were an old officer and you missed the retreat, then I'd like to have an email conversation with you, because you probably should have been there. So, yeah, that's where we are with budget. That's all I have. Do you have anything else? Great. I'm done.
Do you have something you don't need about?
Yeah. I don't know if you saw my email, but I won't be able to, because of the last minute class change.
Oh, yeah.
I won't be able to go to my SGA this winter. I was wondering if anybody could come as a representative. It's for the Landscape and Stewardship Committee. This Wednesday. Sorry. Yeah.
All right, we'll do that after meeting.
We'll do that.
Okay. All right, and so, well, any other announcements?
Oh, sorry.
Quickly.
There's on Thursday, it's on your Google Calendar, there's a Retriever Courage consultant information session. So that is the consultant coming to campus, explaining what they're doing. That's this Thursday. And then potentially next Friday, Monday, and or next Tuesday, I'm not sure which, SGA and GSA will have a session with the consultant to provide feedback. Sorry.
Cool. All right, well, that's it then. All right, so I gavel on this meeting at 7:27. All right, and now meeting is officially adjourned.
So someone can turn off the live stream.
Yeah. And now we're going to do pass the gavel. So for those of you guys who don't know, pass the gavel is essentially just go around and we go around the table and everybody can just give their thoughts about the meeting, whatever's going on, anything. How you feel?
No.
What you thought?
It says the word stop.